Good morning, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I hope you are well. So, as we see, we got a gold sale going on. Um, there's no explanation. It's not real, as we know, because we know it's it's all price fixed. All right. Just wanted to say hi to D. So, what do we got going on with gold? Oh, it's making a run up. So gold's at 28.49, call it 28.50. It had gotten down to 28.37, and now it's back to 28.50 on its way back to 2,900 on its way to 3,000. Silver at 31.17 was sitting at $30.50-60, so it's back to 31. This is what happens when you got derivatives, not free market. There is nobody saying, hey, let's take our profit into bullshit, heavily inflated dollars. There's no, because that's not why you bought gold in the first place. You're not buying gold to profit take. You're buying gold for protection. You know the dollar is going to go to zero, like you know a Mercedes is going to go to zero as you drive it, or any car, anything that gets used. So we know the dollar is going to zero because they're printing it. There's nothing backing it. There's no gold backing it. So we know it's useless and it's worthless to start with. 1971, it's worthless. So why would you sell your gold now to get back into it? That's my Titanic. Why would I get off the Titanic into a lifeboat and get out of the lifeboat and go back into the boat as it's sinking? I mean, you've got to be nuts. So this is just a buying opportunity. You can only look at it from a positive standpoint of, they are, it's just price fix. It's just derivatives and options. There's nobody in the world selling their gold now. I don't know if I assume what's happening is they want to buy more. And I mean, that's Trump, probably the Russians and Chinese, because they're always buying. So they want to get the price down to buy more. So if you think about it like that, you go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I think that's what you see here, why the U.S., we have no gold. Well, I should say the U.S. has no gold in your Fort Knox. And so therefore, since you don't have gold, and then Trump comes in and maybe I doubt Musk realizes it. I don't find him intelligent at all, but Trump probably goes, he knows, he's a businessman. He probably goes, we don't have any gold. We're fucked. So they're lowering the price. Now they're apparently bringing in gold into the U.S., but it's only like, maybe it's 10 tons, which is nothing. Russia's got 25,000 and China's got 60,000 tons, and you got 10. I mean, yeah, it doesn't work. So we see what's happening. Everything happens by July 1st because they have to settle all their COMEX. So what's been happening is they'll do these stupid derivatives in COMEX. And when they do the derivatives, they get settled because now people want physical gold. They don't want an IOU. Well, yeah, I can give you the Montana, but you know what? I'm going to give you an IOU. I'm going to give you a receipt that says you own the Montana, but I'm not actually going to give you the Montana. And you're like, no, I want the Montana. No, no, no. So now everybody says, I want the Montana. I want the gold. And they're all, as they do it, they're settling and they want the gold. And that's what's happening. And the U.S. is caught short because they don't have any. And they need to get gold in to pay off China and Russia, who are wanting delivery, and they don't have any. So that's why they're trying to lower the price so they can buy more at a cheaper price, since they control, or they think they control, COMEX. Now, we talked yesterday with DB Tucker saying, you can easily price fix things. You can't easily price fix things. You can't, because if you want to price fix this at $10, all right, so you put it on the shelf at $10 and it gets sold out, and then guess what? You don't get any more on the shelf. You can't price fix things. The market has to price it, not you. Hey, Pat, good morning. How's everything in Singapore? Record 78 million ounces of silver has to be delivered in March by the COMEX if they stand for delivery. But do they have to stand for delivery, Pat? That's been the question. There is no Basel III Tier 1 for silver. So, yes, people have been wanting the silver for a long time. They're 25,000 tons short, probably 30,000 tons short by now. So I understand logically, in a free market, you'd have to buy a shitload of silver, which would raise the price. But in this market, you don't. That's another reason you're seeing silver drop, because they need to buy it. They need to cover these stand for deliveries. And I think that's what July 1st is when they stand for delivery, has to be settled in both gold and silver. I know for sure in gold, but I'm not sure in silver. And so that's the problem with that. It needs to be settled. But they're not going to settle. Go make me, right? Because the U.S. runs it. So they say, we're not going to settle. We owe you. We'll give you a piece of paper saying we owe you 10 tons of silver. And that's why China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia are running to the mines to get silver. But the silver, now here's a really interesting look at the gold and silver stocks. So you think, gold and silver is going to run up, so I'm going to buy this stock, and all their inventory will go up. Problem is, they won't have any inventory because they're buying all the inventory from the mines. So then, as gold goes up, and they go, well, my inventory went up. Yeah, but I don't have any inventory because I already sold all the gold. Excuse me. I've already sold all the gold and silver, so my inventory is depleted. I can't dig any more out of the mine because I've already dug all the mine. And so therefore, my stock really doesn't go up because I really don't have any inventory to get repriced from $1,000 an ounce to $10,000 an ounce. Times it by 100 ounces. That's all I got left. They don't have to stand for delivery, but it thinks a lot will. Well, what's changed? I don't know. Since the Bank of England already defaulted in gold, there must be a panic to get silver. If they think like that, I agree. I would, I've been listening to a few other people on YouTube, and most of them are idiots, but occasionally you'll get somebody that actually understands it. And me and you can't take delivery on COMEX, right? COMEX is really a price setting mechanism for central banks. So if the central bank of Poland says, I want, 100, if I want 100 tons from COMEX, COMEX would deliver to them. but not to me and you, not to the little players. So there is no delivery of coin. So me and you go to the coin stores, or you're in Singapore, you go to the stores where they sell it, and I go to my guy, and that's where we don't buy it from Comex, just the big banks. Now the question is, what leverage do the big banks have on Comex saying, I want to, you got to deliver. I want my gold. I want my silver. So I think that's why the U.S. is seeing getting the gold in is to pay off the derivatives, which nobody understands but my class, that this is what is really happening. We're not going on the gold system. We don't have money. I told you we didn't have anything in Fort Knox. Well, many people told you that. And now Trump's saying, oh, somebody stole it. Nobody stole the gold from Fort Knox. You sold it, you idiot. How could you possibly sell it? Or how can anybody possibly steal it? It's a freaking fortress. There's no way anybody could get in there and steal the gold. They need trucks. They need dump trucks, right? 17 of them. I wonder how they calculated that in Die Hard 3, that they needed 17 dump trucks. So I don't know if they, the Bank of England defaulted. I get it. Does that lead me to buy silver? And I'm worried about defaulted there. And I said that's why some of these are going right to the silver mines. China, India, they go right to the mine and say, I want silver. I mean, they need it for weapons. They need it for other things. So, I'm not sure if they can wait for silver. Right? I need it for my Tomahawk missiles. I need 500 ounces. Well, how long can they wait? Right? Somebody's got to deliver the silver to me. So, because I got to make the solar panels. I got to make the electric car batteries. There's a lot of things I need the silver for. And oh, by the way, it is money. So we will see. But yes, that is. But they're shy 25,000 tons already. So hopefully they start, but that could be why we're seeing the lower prices. We're all expecting gold to really go to the roof, go to the moon now, because we all know the dollar's done and all the other currencies are done. And here, everybody's talking gold standard, or let's use gold. And here's BRICS with the gold. And when we're wondering at this point, why is it going down? Like today, the last week, it's gone down. Now we have to really think logically. If I want to buy, I want a lower price. Right? I'd love to buy this on sale for $20 instead of paying $75. So therefore, we want the gold and silver on sale to buy it. And that's what they're doing with the price. So they hit a number, they go down, 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 and then here comes the buying. And so it's at some point you're going to get buying, and it comes back up. So, the biggest thing I know, what confuses me, doesn't confuse me, but it's strange, is there's no gold left. The 200,000 tons is gone, right? Russia, China, BRICS, India have bought it. Saudi Arabia, and then I'm sure Brazil and these other countries, and the U.S. is trying to buy it. So there is not like there's 200,000 tons sitting out there. It's gone. Yeah, some goes to Switzerland so they can be made. It'll go to put a China stamp on it, make it 999, and that's what China needs. So they make them for China, but all they're doing is taking gold A and turning it into gold B. So anyway, so it'd be nice if they did. 70 million, 8 million ounces It's not that much when you think about it. If 32,000 is a ton, so 64 is 2 tons, and then make it into millions. So it's only like maybe 200 tons. So it's not a big number. Morning profit, Pat. It's a record amount. I understand that because everybody's panicking, getting out of dollars, right? So I agree with you. It shows you the demand is strong, which then makes no sense why the price is going down. Why is the price down today? Because it's not free market. So today, like I'm saying, it's the sale of the century to buy gold and silver today. It's way undervalued at 3,000, and silver at 100 and gold at 3,000 is way undervalued. So then they push it down to 28, and again, that's so they can buy. That's so the U.S. can buy. Trump's probably saying sell, and then they sell it, and then then here come the Russians and the Indians, and everybody starts buying it, and then Trump realizes I can't make it go down any further. Now we got to buy it at this price. They're stuck buying it at going to be 2,900, 3,000. But again, there's not that much out there. So if Trump needs to settle July 1st, all these Basel III Tier 1 contracts in gold, yes, he has to by July 1st. He's got to he's going to pay a lot for it because you're not going to find it at these prices because nobody's going to give up. Again, the theory is the dollar's worthless. It's the Titanic. So I'm getting out of the dollar into gold because I know the dollar's dropping to zero. What isn't? What can I buy? And you can't buy any other dollar except for gold. So you can't buy a British pound or a Swiss franc. It's not going to help you. They're also going to zero. The wonderful world of Keynesian, right? Oh, you can keep printing money. Nothing can happen to it. Bunch of idiots. So this is where we're at and the price. Now, as they need to buy more gold and silver to settle the contracts, they're going to have to pay market. And this is when it'll break. But this is why JP Morgan sold his stock the other day. He sells all this stock because they got all the derivatives in the bullion bank. So does Goldman Sachs. Which two banks are going to go out? Those two, because they can't possibly settle because they need like silver at $22 an ounce. There's no way it's going down there. And the same thing with gold. They need $2,200, $2,300 gold. It ain't never going back there. So they now realize that they're fucked because they got all these derivatives. They can't. They're going to lose trillions of dollars. So what's going to happen to their stock? If they even survive, it's going to go down. Now, theoretically, the central bank's supposed to support them and do a bailout to give them money. But the central bank doesn't have any money either. They're broke because the dollar's been inflated to zero. So that's where it's going to, and we know that. So this gold should be, so you have no worries in gold. And my point was, so the U.S. and JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs will have to be buying at above market prices the silver and gold to cover their derivatives. And they got till July 1st to do it. So they're trying to push it down, but it's not going to happen. And then they got to go up. So that's where there's no more supply to buy. So if you want a Montana, so if I sell you this Montana, you give me 100,000 PSA 10, we'll call it. And then somebody else wants one, and there's no more around. You're going to pay a lot more than 100,000 for another one because there's none left. And if I just paid 100,000, I'm not selling it for 100. I'll give it to you for 150 if I want to make 50 grand. And that's what will happen in gold and silver as you're paying for it. So as you're buying it today at $29.50, $29.60, you're not selling it under $3,500. And even then, why would you sell it? Unless you needed to, you're not selling it. So again, because there's no supply, the price goes up and up and up as long as there's demand. And apparently we have to cover all these contracts. There is huge demand. Not only that, it's what they, India and China and Russia, what do they want the silver for? Just protection, like gold. It's the same thing as gold. So anyway, Prophet, just received some bad news. My girlfriend's dad passed away last night, unfortunately. Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear that. It's too bad. So now you got to get, get everything sorted out. So anyway, again, sad to hear. So oops. So anyway, we know gold's down because they're just buying it. All right. What else? Everybody who fucks up inflation. I know I talk about it a lot because nobody seems to get it. But they'll talk wage inflation and price inflation, and they're not real. The only inflation that is out there is inflating the money supply. There's only one inflation. You're printing too much money. That's it. There's no wage inflation. There's no price inflation. There's no, I don't know, whatever other types of inflation they make up. Just like there's really no such thing as deflation. It's prices coming down. Well, that's the market. See, the Keynesians have to talk deflation like they're trying to explain everything. That's what the problem with Keynesian economics is. They're trying to well, let's see, prices are coming down. We'll call that deflation. Well, if inflation's printing the money, what is deflation? What does prices coming down have to do with inflation? Only if you're a Keynesian and you think prices are inflation, so prices coming down are deflation. But since it's not prices, there's no such thing as deflation, because prices coming down is the market saying, yeah, I don't want to buy this. We found out sugar's bad for you, so we're not going to drink Coca-Cola regular. We'll drink diet, or we'll drink water, or we'll get off of that. So the price comes down because nobody's buying 2-liter Cokes regular because of all the sugar. And therefore, was that deflation that the price came down? I don't think so. I think it's less demand because it's all freaking sugar. It's going to give everybody diabetes and kill everybody. It's a great product Coke makes. So therefore, why would they? You lose demand causes your price to go down because I can't sell it if nobody wants it. I can only sell something that there's demand for. Only if I can get a buyer can I sell this. If nobody wants to buy it, it's worthless. Even though I might have paid $100,000 for it, if I try to sell it and nobody wants it, I can't. And that's problem with probably the housing market, where prices are getting so expensive, but it's the interest rate tacked on that's really causing a big problem. So my house is worth $500,000 in monopoly money. There's my monopoly money. So my house is worth $500,000 in this shit. Is it really worth $500,000? Only in this monopoly money. That's it. Not in real world. So we tack on 7 or 8% inflation interest rate because you're making this worth even less. So therefore, I got to charge a higher interest rate to get the money I loaned you back. So now the house is $500,000 plus this 10%. Let's call it 10% interest rate, which makes it like 600 or 700,000. Well, the market's here, and you're trying to sell it here. I like it this way. And you're trying to sell it up here, and the market's here, and the interest rate's pushing this up. You can't sell it. So you got to lower your 500 down to maybe 300 plus. So you want to get to here. And if I try to get 500 plus interest, I'm up here. There's no market. So I have to lower the price because there's no demand. So my price goes down to maybe 300,000 plus the interest is 500,000. I'm at my market. So you can see the house lost 200,000 because of the interest rates. That's why I warn you about buying a house right now. Just wait a little bit longer and the prices will all collapse because there's no demand. And then you'll buy it in gold. You won't even buy it in dollars. So you look for other options to get out of the dollar, and really the best one's gold and silver. So that's why it makes no sense that nobody is selling their gold and silver. A few people are selling an ounce of gold because they need to pay bill or eat food or pay rent or whatever. Okay, I get that. So some, an ounce or two, maybe 5 ounces, maybe some old guy selling 5 ounces, maybe, but that's it. And that's not really lowering the price. But most people who don't have to sell are not selling. It's way too cheap for me to sell my gold, even though I bought it at 1800, and even though I bought this at 250, and now it's worth 2200. Even though I did that, I'm not looking. It's still too cheap to sell this. So this is sentimental. This is for my master, so I'll never sell this. But the regular gold I've been buying, I would never sell that because I think it's undervalued because it's going to go way higher because there's no other option. The dollars are all collapsing, but people don't realize the dollars are collapsing. And as we heard in that one video from DB Cooper yesterday, and he's saying all his Morgan Stanley financial planner told him you don't want to be in gold because you can't, it's dead money. In other words, you buy, so let's use this. So I buy this card and that's it. My money's dead, right? Because I paid, let's say I paid 100 grand for it. Well, that 100 grand's out of circulation now. It's in Montana and I'm not looking to sell the Montana card. So that 100 grand would be just useless. You can't buy stocks and bonds and real estate trust and annuities with the 100 grand. And that's what in other words, we can't make commission if you have the Montana card or gold. There's no commission I can get on a Rolex. Once you spent that money, the money's gone. It's into the card now. The card's the asset. You're not changing the card. That's what the financial planners want you to do is don't put it into gold and baseball cards and Rolexes because we can't get commission. So if you buy stock, I can tell you to sell the stock, make commission, buy this stock, make more commission. And maybe you make money or not. I don't know. And that's really the problem. That's why they made Bitcoin ETFs. So Larry Fink can make commission on the ETFs. That's why there's gold and silver ETFs. Oh, well, you can get into those and we can make commission on you, even though it's the dumbest thing to do because in gold, you want to hold physical. You don't want to have it electronic. However, Bitcoin, you don't have anything. I mean, that's the thing with Bitcoin. You don't hold anything. So I don't really get that. Anyway, I looked at Bitcoin this morning just out of curiosity, and it's down to 81,000. Are you sweating yet, you Bitcoin people? At what point do you start sweating with Bitcoin? Right? It's never going to come down. It's always going to go up. At what point do you go, it just went from 106, although my friend said 125, which I never saw. But let's say it was 125. Now it's at 80. You just lost $40,000. And this is where they don't understand it. You just lost $40,000. So had you sold it at, let's say 120, let's just say 110. Because I know I saw it about 106. Let's say it's 110. And now it's down to 80. You just lost $30,000. Do you realize that? And this is why when I teach you how to gamble and take your winnings when you're playing poker or you're playing apps, you take your profit. That's why you take your profit, because there will be, it doesn't just do this. Only Madoff does this. So it's going to go up and down and up and down. You're going to make money, then you're going to lose. You're going to go on a losing streak. So the idea is when you're on the winning streak, you take your money. You play a little bit more, you start losing, you get out before the losing streak happens. And that's what I'm trying to teach you in everything, and in Bitcoin especially, as volatile as it is, and it's not backed by anything, and it's not real. Be thankful you made your money and get the hell out of it and go buy gold, because that's a sure thing, gold, right? And gold, you own it. You got to own it. You got to buy physical, not ETFs or stocks. And as I was saying with the stock market, with the gold, people need it and they can't get it from COMEX. They go to the next source, which is the mines, especially central banks, right? They need more. They want to join BRICS. And there's a lot more countries joining BRICS. America, maybe we're joining BRICS because we're buying gold. But there isn't any on COMEX, so where are we going to get it from? We'll go to a gold mine or a silver mine. So if you're Newmont Mining and you look at your financials and you go, oh, well, when gold goes to 10,000 an ounce, the stock's going to go to the moon. And I disagree with that, because their inventory will have gone from, let's say, 20,000 tons of gold to 2,000 tons of gold. So they won't go to the moon because they've sold all their inventory, because it came direct from Russia, went right to the mine, said, give me 2,000 tons, or silver, if there's even any. Nobody mines silver. It's too cheap. The cost to do a mine and the cost to mine, there's a break even. I don't know what it is. Well, let's say it's $200 an ounce, and in silver they're getting 30. So they can't make money on it. So therefore, nobody mines silver. Profit. Investors are nervous now and selling off their stocks in crypto because of all these upcoming tariffs taking effect March 4th. I don't know what a tariff is. A price increase. On goods, though, on corn, on wheat, maybe on steel. How's that going to affect Apple, Google, Microsoft? It'll affect Tesla, but most of their buildings done in China. That's probably the only ones that'll affect is the manufacturing ones. And nobody has their money in GM and Ford right now. Nvidia is AI. That got crushed yesterday. Their earnings were lost. They had nothing to do with tariffs. I was at the gym working out. So on the bike, there's TVs. And it was down $10 because they reported bad earnings. And that's what happens in stocks. You get buried. You wake up. Now, how does it go down $10 after earnings? I can't sell because it's after the day. So I'm fucked. But somebody's able to sell. And that's the problem with that's why it's a Madoff, the stock market, because they can get out and you can't. And then you wake up and it's down $20. And now you're fucked. You just lost $20 on Nvidia stock because you went into it without knowledge of what the hell you're doing. You're just watching it go up and you say, oh, I'll get into it, with no plan on when to get out. Trump plans a 25% trade tariff on the EU auto industry as well. Well, okay, so that might hurt Mercedes, the German companies. Won't hurt Honda and Toyota because they're Asian. Won't hurt GM and Ford. And in fact, that's the point. He's doing what's called nationalism. Now, as I told you several times, the key to a country is free trade. You must have free trade. Where's my notes? Somewhere is my notes. So the key to a country is low taxes, free trade, gold standard. But what he's doing is he's not doing free trade. That's not good. I think what Trump's trying to do is pay off the $36 trillion debt. That's what he's trying to do. I don't know if he can successfully do that, but that's what he's trying to do. He can't with that. So all that'll happen is a 25% trade tariff will raise the price of goods 25% if the market will allow it. If the market won't allow it, it'll cost GM and Ford 25% more to get steel or things for the lights and the interior and the exterior of the car and the engine. So it'll cost them 25% more, but they won't be able to pass the price on. We've seen Camry. I told you I was at the dealer, and he's trying to sell it for $35,000. He can't sell it, even though their costs go up. Does not necessarily correlate to prices going up, and it's all up to the market. And this is what the Keynesians don't understand, but us Austrians do. It's all up to the market. We decide what we buy and at what price, and that's the bottom line, Mr. Stone Cold. That's it, not anything else. So if you can't do it, so what are tariffs going to do? It's going to cost more to bring goods in, or they'll have to pay a tariff. So I'm going to sell you steel, and then there's going to be a 25%. So like now we go to the store and we spend $100, and then there's in Michigan a 6% sales tax. It'll cost us $106. Well, that's what's going to happen with these tariffs. They're going to sell steel for whatever, $1 million, and then there'll be a 25% tariff added on to wherever, let's say it's coming from Germany. So Germany, can they afford it? Probably not. So they're going to say, you know what, we can't sell it to you. It's too expensive because it costs us so much to make. If we have to sell it to you plus the 25, it's too much. So then what happens is, well, instead of selling it to you for $1 million and this 25% tax, we want $125 million, and you pay the tax, or we'll have to charge you more because we got to cover that tariff. In which case we get hurt, and then if we do buy it at that price, what do we do with it? Now, how much do we actually get from the EU? Just Germany, just Mercedes and Audis, Volkswagens. I would think most of the electronics and AI is coming from India and China, Russia. I mean, it's not coming from the EU. We don't make anything here. So Trump wants to start manufacturing again, and then he can tariff it, and that's how he's going to pay the debt, or that's how we don't have to pay income tax. The whole system needs to be blown up. The tariffs will never work because who's going to pay for them? Like I said, the company shipping in the steel will want the buyer to pay for it. And will the government give a subsidy for it? I mean, the whole thing is crazy. Why doesn't he just make it 100% tariffs? Why stop at 25? But what's your thought? And then it necessarily won't cost us more. It'll cost the company buying whatever more. But again, that's from the EU. But what if we buy from China and Japan? That's just an EU tariff. It's supposed to be going to be a tariff on Mexico and Canada. Well, where's that? How's that going to affect us? Maybe my avocados go up a little bit more if we get them from Mexico and we can't get them from anywhere else. So he doesn't understand that raising cost, right? Here's the market. Raising costs, there's no market for it, doesn't sell. This won't sell because the market's down here, and by tariffing it, you raise You raise the cost to the producer, manufacturer, and then he tries to raise his selling price. So either he raises it, like the Camry 5000, which won't sell. So he's got to lower it. But wait, his costs went up. So at $26,000 for the Camry, he loses money. How long is he going to stay in business losing money? That's what tariffs do to you. They kill your economy. That's why you need free trade. I'm just shocked that he's not going with free trade, but with Bissett being a Soros guy, I'm not surprised at all. Okay, the American consumer is going to pay for the tariffs with higher prices. Not necessarily. This is what I just was talking about. Not necessarily. The manufacturer, whoever is importing the goods will pay. Will the consumer pay? Like I said, why isn't Coca-Cola $10 a 2 liter as opposed to $3 a 2 liter? Because we won't pay for it. The only way you run a business is it costs you $30 a bottle and you can sell it for 50. But you can't sell it for 80 just because your cost went up to 50. Because the market will give you $50 a bottle. We will not give you $80 a bottle. You can't force the market to buy things that are more expensive. The market has their thing. Here's the market. This is what I will pay. If you raise the price, I'm not gonna pay more for it. So please listen in class. This is what I've been explaining for the last half hour. You are not forcing the market to pay more. You can try to charge them more, but if the market says no, as in the Camry or in my rib example, where they want the costs go up, they got to charge $45 for ribs, and everybody says, "No way, I'll give you 30, but I'm not going to give you 45." So the barbecue place costs go up, but nobody cares. I can't afford $45 for a slab of ribs because I'm getting killed on my money. Right. My money, I got to spend more for tuna fish at this grocery store and my utilities. So no, I gotta spend more. So therefore, no, I can't pay more. You can't force the consumer to pay more than he's willing to pay. Your costs go up. So in a sense, you drive companies out of business before the consumer pays more. So if nobody's going to pay $35,000 for the Camry, what does Toyota do? Well, they discontinue it. Well, I can't make profit on it. So what does a business do when they can't make profit? My costs have went up either for tariffs or taxes or sanctions or whatever you want to call it, right? My costs go up. Again, the key is I can make this for 30. How much can I sell it for? And if I can sell it for 50, I make it. But if my costs go to 50 and I got to sell it for 50 and I can't make anything, I go out of business. I cannot force the consumer to spend 70 on it. He's going to pay what he's going to pay. And if he only pays 50 and let's say my costs go to 70, but I can't get 70, I can't get 90 in the marketplace, I go out of business or I stop producing that product. That's why Coke's still sitting at $2.95 and it hasn't gone to $5. I'm sure the costs have went up, but people aren't paying $3 for it. So you can raise the prices. However, it's called substitute goods. I can drink water. I can get lemonade. I can make tea. I don't necessarily need Coke. I can get other products cheaper. If steaks go too high and they're $25 a pound, I eat hamburgers. I can still get hamburgers at my meat place for $6. So there you go. So what do I need? So I pay $20 for New York or London broil. I don't need to pay it. Even salmon, I notice, has gone up, but then I'm starting to see this $11 salmon. So it's coming down a little bit. And that's how I'm competing. It's what's the price of salmon? Oh, $11 and the New York strip is $15. I'll buy the salmon. If the New York strip, which was $10 a couple of weeks ago, is $10, the salmon's $12, I'll buy the New York strip. That's how I'm going to eat. I'm going to substitute because I don't care. I'll eat either one. It's fine. Um, so that's what you're looking for. Now, as far as investors are nervous now, I'm not quite sure. How do you know that? Um, Bitcoin going down is an ETF by Larry Fink. It's not, there's no market there. Gold and silver, certainly nobody's selling. That's where everybody's going to. So if you're nervous, you're dumping your stocks and you're going into gold and silver. But we're not really seeing, we're seeing that price up to 29, but that's why we got to get rid of COMEX. Then we would see $5,000 gold and $500 silver as the nervous. This is what the problem is when you don't have real prices. When you don't have, when prices are information, it's exactly what they are. How much, what's this card worth? What's this card worth? I don't know what these cards are worth. How do I find out what's the prices? So I got to go to a free market on eBay and see what is this, what do these cost? And obviously it's with graded. So let's assume they're graded. Let's say they're both PSA 10s. What can I get for this? This I could get approximately 90 to 110,000, and this I don't know. I have to look. 40, 50, 60,000. That's the value of the cards. And how did you get that was prices. Prices tell you what values are. If you want to insure it, if you want, why do I want to buy gold? Well, you look at the price of the gold. Oh, it's 2,900. It's getting more valuable and more valuable. Now, the real smart person goes, why? See, that's what I'm trying to get you to is you see it and then you ask the why. Why is gold 2,900? I told you that I was in an interview for a finance job. He says, we walked through it. And he says, do you have any questions? And I go, sure. What, do you understand why gold's at that time $2,000 an ounce? It was a year ago or so. Why do you know why gold's 2,000 an ounce? And he said no. And my thought was this guy's not a critical thinker. He should be asking why is it 2,000 an ounce? And that's what separates me and us from everybody else. They just are like robots. They're like, Google stock's up. I'll buy it. Amazon's up. I'll buy it. Why? Did you look at their financials? No, but the stock's up, so I'll buy it. Bitcoin. I don't even know what Bitcoin is. I don't even know why the price goes up, but hey, the price is 70,000. I'm going to buy it. Oh, it went up to 90,000. Oh, I'm going to buy it. Why? Because it's going up. And that's what people do, and they don't understand why. So you see the price of gold at 2,000 and you don't ask, why is it 2,000? Well, that's the first thing you should be asking is why is it 2,000? Why is Bitcoin at 100,000? Why did it just go down to 81,000? Why is, Google stock, whatever, 200? I noticed all the big stocks got hurt yesterday. Nvidia, and then I think Amazon went down and Apple went down. They're all tumbling. And so the reason is why? Why do I bluff in poker or why do I go all in poker? What is the strategy? Why do I do it? Maybe that's why I'm good at poker because I try to understand the strategy. So I got a pair of 10s. Should I bluff or should I not bluff? Well, it depends who I'm playing. And I got to read, are they strong or not? They should be telling me, how they play when they're strong and how they play when they're weak. The real good ones understand that they're being watched and don't give you that tell. You don't know. They give you the same tell if they're strong or they're weak, so you have no idea. That's how you play poker. So you've always got to ask, why is Bitcoin so expensive? What's so good about Bitcoin? And what's so good about gold? Well, that's what I keep drilling into you is gold can't be printed. Gold's real money and it can't be printed and it's all gone and it's run by derivatives. So we know that's not a real price. So the information we get on gold and silver is not real. The information I get on Montana is real based on, PSA 10. I see a PSA 10 sold for 100,000. That's information that's free market, that's real. The gold price is what I keep drilling into you is not real. The demand and the supply of gold with everybody needing it and nervous market is very much not the real price. We're not getting good information on the price. We're not. The price should be much higher. I got loud woodpeckers. It should be much higher, but it doesn't show the real price. That's why when you ask me, how much do I buy or should I sell? And I said, no, because the information we're getting isn't even close to reality, right? The information is very, very controlled and price fixed. It's fixed. They're telling you 2,900, but in reality, it should be 10,000. We don't really have the information to know what the real price of gold and or silver is, but if we just understand any type of how do you get a price, it's low supply and high demand. And if you have those two things, which we had in gold and silver, and then you get something like this where people are getting scared and there's no gold in Fort Knox, and maybe there's tariffs and all this taxes and the debt, and there's a lot of angst in the market. We're nervous. And they're trying to keep you away from gold and silver because it's freedom, it's independence, it's something they can't take from you. You can't wake up one day and your stock's down 50 points. Well, that can't happen in gold. Well, it happened a little with the COMEX, but we know that's not real. So you see $2,900 gold on COMEX, which is done with price fixing and derivatives and not free market, somebody buying and selling. That's the problem. So the information you get is gold's 2,900. But in reality, you do not know what this number is. Here's gold's price. Here's COMEX. But the demand's way up here. Everybody keeps buying it, but the price doesn't register, right? So that's what I say. If me and you, everybody in the class bought 100 tons of gold, if we could afford it, we all bought 100 tons of gold. So we bought, 10,000 tons of gold. This wouldn't move because this is not based on reality. This is based on derivatives going up and down. So when you see the price go down, it's just based on derivatives. And when you see the price go up, it's based on derivatives. It's based on when it goes up, it's people taking delivery a little bit more, but still, it's still bullshit. And then it goes down for no reason because you did a derivative. Makes absolutely no sense. And that's where we're at. So when we see today, we see gold down $30, $40. We go, it's a buying opportunity because we know it's not a real price. So the information they're trying to tell you is false. Now, that's what we understand. That's the whole point. We understand the pricing information's not real. It should be much higher. It's not real. So therefore, if it's not real, we're going to go ahead and ignore the information because there's no reason. So we dig into why did it go down, and there's no reason, just derivatives. It should be, maybe because the U.S. wants to buy to settle their derivatives, which is done by July 1st. They got to settle. Pat saying 78 million ounces has to be delivered in March if they stand for delivery. Yeah, but that's if they stand for delivery, and they won't till July 1st. But in July 1st, so we need physical gold to pay off the derivatives because the derivatives are paper. They're bullshit, just like ETFs. You're not getting a fair price on the ETFs because they're still using the COMEX price to determine the ETF price, which is not correct. So the ETF price isn't correct, and the gold price isn't correct. So the answer in the interview, why is gold $2,000? He should have said it's price fixed, and basically the information of gold being 2,000 an ounce is incorrect. They've been price fixing it. What's changed? And the answer is BRICS. Russia, China are now buying it because they understand the information's too weak. There's too much derivatives going on. Therefore, there is no the real price of gold has not been established. We don't know what this is. We know what COMEX is, and we know this is nowhere near this. And so we buy this at this price when it should be this price. And if you understand that logic, then you keep buying and buying and buying. And this is sale of the century today. Watching both get crushed, they'll both go way up next week, and off we go. So I don't know if there was a settlement date or whatever happened, but it's just bullshit. It's just, don't get nervous. It's derivatives. Don't get, So again, we don't have enough information. At the grocery store, $4 tuna, $5 tuna, that information, that's what it costs. So you understand that. Yes, some prices go up if we can, but we can sit there and is there $3 tuna? Or I won't buy tuna. I'll buy, macaroni and cheese or something, So there's always alternatives to or substitutions to at the grocery store, right? So again, prices are information. That's the value. But if the money's screwed up, the prices are not valued properly. So when I tell you you have a 500, when I tell you my Montana's worth 100,000 PSA 10, that's in inflated dollars. So the information on this card, although it's free market, is not accurate. It's priced in this. So the information you're getting on the price is priced in this. So when this goes to zero, this goes to zero. And then we come up with a new currency, and hopefully it's gold back. Then we get a price in gold on this card, and then you'll see the real value of it in gold. And that's the difference. So as you keep printing this, making it worthless, the prices go up because there's more dollars. So the Montana card goes, maybe it was supposed to be 60,000, it's now 100 because you keep printing this. So the information being told as this is worth less and less and less, and you need more money to buy the same good. And that's what you get. So what I'm saying is your Montana, your house, your car are all priced in paper, heavily inflated money that's worthless. So therefore, the value of everything you have is absolutely worthless. And that's what you got to understand. The information isn't there. It is there in this bullshit money. And what they're trying to tell you is, oh, the money's fine. The money's good. Look, inflation's down to 2%. They don't even know what inflation is. They're calling it prices, and they're calling deflation prices, and neither of them are correct. So the inflation, the value's down. So the information it leaks out is really not real. And then if it's not even at like gold and silver at a free market, then we have no idea what gold and silver is. All I can say, the reason I say it's worth a lot more, very low supply, very high demand, and it's priced in heavily inflated, price fixed dollars. So it's not even the inflated dollars, it's price fixed. So gold should be 10,000 an ounce, because if it was free market where they're a buyer and a seller, because as it's becoming more and more limited, people will have to pay more for it, like the Super Bowl tickets. As the first 70,000 sold out, then it went from 1,500 or whatever for the ticket to 5,000 for the ticket. That's the information. But even that's all in inflated dollars. So that's really what's happening in the market. You're not getting accurate prices. The prices are the information for what things are valued at. You really don't have the true value. And that's why if we go to the gold standard, or if we move to a BRICS country, you'll start getting prices in gold, and that's what'll be key. Everything will settle down that way. So that's basically your inflation economics lesson is Prices are information, but when you have inflation, which is printing the money, and the dollar is worthless, and it's not priced by the market, baseball cards are, gold's not, it's kept down. So there's no way gold's 3,000 an ounce if they're doing this shit like they are today, where they're pricing it down. So the value of the gold's much, much higher. So that's why I say go buy it. You're getting a discount. The 2,900 is way low, but you put it at 2,850 or whatever it's at today, and it's worth a lot more than that. Even that price isn't real. The derivatives knocking it down isn't a real price. So the information you're getting is incorrect. So if you're smart enough to realize it went down for no reason, just so they could buy more gold at a cheaper price, then you realize, well, what is the value of the gold? And you don't know. It's up here somewhere. But COMEX is down here. So you got a big jump coming up to get gold to where the market dictates it in a free market world like this. That's free market. That's what we want from gold. Will we get it? We think what the change is BRICS. BRICS is buying gold. So I think we will have a free market gold. Russia wants it. Dubai wants it. And China wants it. So they will come out with a free market. Once you get that, when it's very limited, when the supply is as tight as it is, but the demand keeps going. Well, once the demand keeps going, then there's only so much supply. There's only 200,000 tons, and of that, it's gone. So now here comes a new million people who are getting screwed in Europe and the U.S. start realizing they need gold and silver, but they can't get it because it's gone. And now you can get it. It didn't disappear or get used up. It's just like I have 10 ounces. Well, somebody wants my 10. Well, I paid $3,000 for it. You're not getting it for $3,000, and you need it, and you need it more than I do, and you need it. So I'm willing to part with it for $5,000. So you're going to pay more because I've already paid $3,000 for it, and you need it. Well, I'm not going to give it to you for $2,000 or $2,500 or even $3,000. So at what point do you do fair trade? Now, as I'm saying, as we're in dollars, I don't want this. This is worthless because I understand inflation. You printed the money to nothing. So if the money's worthless, I don't want to sell you gold for money. I want to sell you gold for gold. I want to sell you gold for a house, or I want to sell you gold for a car. Something that is an asset, or I can sell you gold for this, right? Or a Jordan rookie card, or a Mantle card. I can sell you gold for those that are real, but I really don't want this. I saw yesterday Saudi Arabia is like, I think soon they're not going to take dollars anymore. They're just going to want gold for their, either the BRICS gold money or gold for their oil. How much is oil going to be? So you got to get prepared for that. So the more gold you have and the more silver you have, the easier it is to adjust when the prices go to gold. You have gold, and that's really the key. So when Egon says, well, you want to keep your money, it's wealth preservation. So your $100,000 in dollars, you put it into gold. So now I got 100,000 in gold. The dollar goes to zero, but the gold's still worth 100,000, if not more. And that's the wealth preservation he talks about is, well, I didn't lose the 100 grand. And this is where everybody doesn't get it. Even if your money's in a 401k or in a bank, it's in paper that's worthless. So when that goes to zero, so do the stocks, the bonds, the money in the bank, and the Bitcoin. So when that all happens and the money becomes worthless, you now are holding things that are worthless. They won't go up. So will Bitcoin, if the dollar goes to zero, will Bitcoin go up? No, because it's not backed by anything. There is no value in Bitcoin. Okay, so will my money in the bank? Dollar goes down, so does the money in the bank. Everything goes down together. Your stocks go down. Your house goes down. What goes up when this goes to zero? The only thing that goes up is gold and silver. Maybe that's a clearer way to present that. But this money is basically zero. It has no value because you can't destroy the money. But you need the medium of exchange. That's why I call this money. It is the medium of exchange. It is, in sense, money. It might be debt related, but it's still money. It might be fiat money, but I don't. Fiat money is made by the government, but it's still money. This is still money. It might be debt. Whatever. We don't pay a debt on it. It's just if we go to if we go to Canada and I go to Caesars and I take $5,000 and I lose it, and now Caesars got 5,000 American dollars, then that's how they get the debt back. Then, okay, you owe us, we want Canadian dollars, which I don't know why they'd want that. But the only thing as the dollar goes out that goes up or even stays is gold and silver. Hence why you dump the dollar and get into gold and silver, because that won't go down together. Dollar go down, gold goes up. Because then the demand for gold, people start realizing, oh, wait, it is money. It is something that can't go down, and it's very limited. So this is what's coming ahead. So keep that in mind. Again, prices are information. What is the value of things? So when you do a tariff, it doesn't mean that the price will go up. It only means the cost will go up. And I'm not sure who pays for it. So if steel's coming from Japan and there's a 25% tariff on it, or let's say it's coming from Germany because it's EU, who pays that tariff? Does Mercedes, or the German steel company, pay? They're the ones who have to pay for the tariff. So they'll raise the price to GM to sell them the steel. And then theoretically, GM's going to pay for the tariff. And then they're going to try to pass the cost on to us, but nobody wants a GM car, so they're going to eat the cost. I mean, if the car goes, like I said, from 25 to 35, nobody's going to buy it, so GM will pay the tariff. Now, it's intended for the German steel company to pay the tariff, but he's going to raise the price and pass it on to GM. Now GM's going to be, well, wait a minute, do we have another place to buy the steel from? And Trump's hoping, there'll be a steel plant in Texas to buy it. But that takes years to develop and not necessarily what the smart thing to do is. All right. Let's talk football. So you've asked me about the draft. So I'm going to go into my handy dandy thing. So I'm going to be in this, not on the screen. All right. So let's look. Where am I in? So let's look at receiving. There's really, everybody likes this Tyler Warren from Penn State. I don't know. He's played in 16 games, caught 104 passes, 8 touchdowns, versus the guy Harold Fanning Jr. from Bowling Green. In 13 games, caught 117 and had 10 touchdowns, with receiving yards more than this Warren. Not a lot in tight ends. There's a few tight ends. This is receivers. Not a whole lot there that I would recommend. Kind of a weak thing. Tez Johnson from Oregon, I don't know. Arizona, this McMillan that I saw in these, he caught 84 passes, 8 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. I don't know how good he is. Iowa State's got a couple. Texas Tech should always have some. Let's go back. So when we look at quarterbacks, so let's look at passing. So I'm going to go by touchdowns. So if I'm the GM and I'm looking for a quarterback, Cam Ward had 39, but I don't like Cam Ward. Prime Jr. had 37 with 10 interceptions. Gets sacked 1,000 times. I don't like him because it's a gimmick offense. Cade Klubnik from Clemson's good, but he's staying in. He had 36 touchdowns. Will Howard's not bad, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Most of these came in the playoffs. He wasn't that strong in the regular season, and his wonderful performance against Michigan makes me doubt him. He's probably a good backup. Kyle McCord from Syracuse was Ohio State's quarterback last year. He had 34 and 12. He wasn't bad here, but again, in the big games against Michigan, he didn't show up. So I question both of those guys. The guy I like here, there's two. Chandler Morris from North Texas, 31 touchdowns, 12 picks. And then the guy, Jordan McLeod from Texas State, who I really love, 30 touchdowns and 13 picks. Big guy, mobile. Dylan Gabriel, Oregon, 30 touchdowns, 6 picks. I'm not crazy about Jackson Dart, although he's okay, 29 and 6. Curtis Rourke from Indiana had a good year, 29 and 5. I think he's good. Beck got injured from my Georgia. Sawyer Robinson is very good at Baylor. He's a junior. I don't know if he's coming out. He was 28 and 8, and he didn't play the whole year. John Hoover, TCU, 27 and 11. Not crazy about that. Burhan Morton, Texas Tech, 27 8. We always love the Texas Tech quarterbacks. Seth Hennigan, Memphis, 25 and 6. The guy I really like, Owen McCown, UTSA, 25 and 10, but he's a sophomore, and he put up big numbers as a sophomore. And Rocco Brack from Iowa State, also 25 and 9, but they're both sophomores, so there'll be another year. Sam Levitt, Arizona State, 24 and 6. I don't like Drew Allard, Penn State. He never does anything. Tyler Shaw was the Texas Tech guy, went to Louisville, 23 and 6. He would work in a crunch. So those are my top 10, 15 quarterbacks. They are the ones I just told you are very draftable. But I wouldn't waste my time on Prime Jr. or on Cam Ward. I would just assume take the guy from Texas State or North Texas and be happy with that. They're just as good. So I wouldn't waste the number one pick on Prime Jr., that's for sure. Rushing, Ashton Gentry, Boise, we all know about him. 2,600 yards. Then there's this Hampton from North Carolina is the second at 1,660, but he only got 15 touchdowns. Ty Brooks, I thought, was very good at Texas Tech, 1,500 yards, 17 touchdowns. He's very good. Scadaboo, Arizona State, 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns. This is a great red zone running back. He'll get you the touchdowns. Caleb Johnson, Iowa, we know about 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. I got to stay away from the Army-Navy quarterbacks, although they were good. Bryson Daly at Army had 1,600 yards, 32 touchdowns. So maybe he is a good, you could carry him as a backup running back. And when you're in the red zone, let the guy get in the wishbone and let him run because he has a nose for the goal line. 32 touchdowns. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Dylan Sampson, I like from Tennessee, 1,500 yards, 22 touchdowns. He'd be very good. Let's see. Oh, I got a freshman here from Lou Monroe, 1,350 yards and 13 touchdowns. He's a freshman. Ahmad Hardy. Keep your eye on him. Devin Neal, very good from Kansas, 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns, and he killed Colorado. Loved him in that game. Then you got the Navy quarterback, Blythe Horvath, 1,200 yards, 17 touchdowns. Auburn, nothing. Tulane. And anyway, and then let's go to defense. So those are you. So there's some running backs. It's doable. Let's look at sacks. So total sacks. Mike Green from Marshall is a sophomore. I don't know if he's coming out. 17 sacks. A guy I think is good, Donovan Izanaku from Boston College, 16 and a half sacks. So there's a sleeper for you. That guy will be good. There's a guy, Antoine Powell Ryland from Virginia Tech, 16 sacks. Eric O'Neill from James Madison. You want a third round, fourth round guy? There you go, 13 sacks. Tuamula from Ohio State, 12 and a half. Abdul Carter only had 12 sacks. He's not even in the top 5. Everybody loves him. See, this is the problem. You'll take him first, and you really should be taking this Izakua from BC or Tumalua from Ohio State or the guy from Maryland. If he comes out as a sophomore, he's really the best one to take. So you'll take Abdul Carter because of whatchamacallit, because of my guy on Dallas. Jesus. I can't think of it. It'll pop in. Micah Parsons. So you're going to draft him because of Micah Parsons. Well, he's not Micah Parsons, clearly. Let's see, anybody else? Not a lot. There's my guy from Ole Miss, Princely Umanaminimum. Ole Miss, 10 and a half sacks, senior. That guy I would definitely scoop up. The other guy from Ole Miss is just a sophomore, so I doubt, and he's a linebacker, so it's not even the same defensive end I'm thinking. UTSA, Jamon Robinson, 10 and a half sacks. Mikael Kamara from Indiana, 10 sacks. Boise had a guy with 10 sacks. So not just that. Jack Sawyer, Ohio State, had 9 sacks. So you got to be careful with it. But that's kind of gives you, like, you got to be careful because they'll take the guy there. Now let's look at tackles. And let's see. So we look at tackles. Total tackles. Shane Dolick from Buffalo, 168 tackles, is clear by 10. And his fellow linebacker, he's a linebacker from Buffalo. The other guy from Buffalo is next at 156 tackles. So he's a sophomore. I would think very highly of taking Sean Dolick. Maybe not in the first round, but he'd be up there. Carl Schweitzinger from UCLA is a junior linebacker, 136 tackles. Kid from Vegas, Woodward, 135 tackles, Florida International. Kid from Navy, always interested in the Army-Navy guys, 129. Isaac Smith from Old Mississippi. No, he's a sophomore, forget it. This guy, Jaden McDonald from UConn, I would think of, 125. He'd be a good third, fourth, fifth round pick. You need somebody there. UConn had a very good defense this year. Iowa, Jay Higgins, they're always strong. Most of these tacklers are linebackers. Here's a safety, Smith from Old Mississippi State, and a safety, Jordan Vincent from Utah State. But the rest are mostly linebackers. I wonder if this tackles are mostly linebackers, not defensive ends. And we'll look at one more. We'll look at interceptions, which are kind of hard, but we'll see. All right, let's look at And by total, it was kind of a weak year. The best was 7. Noah Williams from California. UTSA has Zach Fraser, 6. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, 6. But that's including all the playoff games. So in 16 games, Noah Williams from Cal was 13 games. Cam Lockridge, Fresno State, had 5 in 9 games. Kansas, Mello Dotson, 5. Marshall Buffalo. The Shane Dolick, there you go. He leads in what was it, in tackles, and here he leads and he's got 5 interceptions. So he's a hell of a player, this Shane Dolick. So I'd probably grab him in the first round. I don't care that he went to Buffalo, although you know how I am partial to Georgia, LSU, and the big and the SEC guys, but in this situation. So let me get back to class. So you asked me how to draft. Profit. The American consumer is going to pay for the tariffs with higher prices. We talked about that. Hello, sir. I am waiting for your reply. Okay. Good morning, Amit. When I'm ready to reply, I'll reply. So please don't come here and trying to force things. That's not how I work. So I'm thinking about it and seeing if it's even worth it. I don't know. I don't know how credible you are. I've never heard of you. So I don't jump in and throw my money away. So that's the thing. Anyway, so that's like college football. You basically are looking for it. How do you draft? And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for playmakers that, I'm looking for receivers that catch the ball, and it's not necessarily, because he went, there's you're kind of torn between. You got to understand the quarterback and the system. So this year, McCord was Ohio State's quarterback, goes to Syracuse, has a pretty good year with a different system against Syracuse. His big win came beating Miami, who didn't have a good defense. So you got to look at the system and go, well, he sucked at Ohio State in the big game. So I wouldn't run to get McCord. Will Howard, I would. He did show up in the big games, except for the Michigan game. So you got to really wonder. He fumbled in the game. So he did choke in the Michigan game. So you've got to wonder, how's he going to be in a big game? I don't know if he's any more than a backup. So I wouldn't waste the pick on him early. I wouldn't. Prime Jr. and the guy from Miami, I wouldn't. They are not top 10 picks at all. I would be much happier with Scadaboo and Gentry than him or these defensive players I pointed out. Forget the offensive lineman in the first round. You've got to be out of your freaking mind. How many offensive linemen has Tennessee and Jacksonville and Indy taken in the first round? And how's that worked out for? Well, I love when the team needs offensive linemen. The Bears, if they can just draft some good offensive linemen. What are you kidding me? Who have they been drafting? Like, how the Bears can't draft a quarterback. They're going to surprise you with an offensive lineman. They have to get 3 wide receiver free agents, and they still can't pass the ball. So I was listening on the radio here, and I can tell they were listening because they think Caleb and Ben Johnson are both suck, which is my point, and they will. I don't buy Ben Johnson. I don't smell what he's cooking. He's not the Rock. There's no way. In the real big games against Buffalo, he started bad. And then he has all these fake little gadget play, the reverses, the end arounds, the wide receiver passes. Some guy on the radio who I hate says, they don't do trick plays. And I'm like, what have you been watching? He insulted me years ago and didn't believe my stats. I went on a 28-5 run on my locks. and it's all true. It's all posted. And he didn't believe me, and he insulted me, and I was paying the radio station to run an ad. And he insults me and says, "Oh, this isn't real." I hate when people say that and it's not real. So instead of running the ad, promoting me, he does a unpromotion. He kills my reputation, even though it was true. And he didn't take the time to research my site and see the pics as I show you on the history, or talk to me. Oh, these aren't real. These aren't real. And I'd say, yes, they are. I'm that good, and you don't understand it because you can't pick. You think nobody can pick, and I can pick. So it really pissed me off. So I won't. If I see the guy, I'd probably kill him. I would have no respect for somebody like that. I'm paying you to promote, and not only are you not promoting, you're insulting. What kind of guy is that? I don't want to be with these people like that. Those are vampires. Those are guys that think they're smart and they're really stupid, and they're not. This is the type of person you want to stay away from. So if I'm drafting, now normally I'm looking for Georgia and LSU and, maybe some Ohio State, but not ever Ohio State quarterbacks and Ohio State running backs. Okay. Defense, maybe. But there's certain schools that produce well because they're coached well. And then you have the guy from Buffalo who leads the country in tackles and interceptions. He's right up there, and you go, this guy's good. So that's the exception, but it's based on stats. Looking at stats, I would not draft that Penn State guy that high. I draft him at the end of the first round. I wouldn't draft him in the top 5. He's not a top 5 player. He might be fast and rush the quarterback like Micah Parsons, but he ain't Micah Parsons. And I don't know. Did he show up? Well, I don't know. Who'd they lose to? Notre Dame. They gave up 30-some points to Notre Dame. Didn't show up in that game. Otherwise, they wouldn't have scored 30 points. So anyway, you've got to look at that. So this is a weak draft. I would definitely, but you get your needs. And again, offensive linemen don't start till the 3rd round. As I've pointed out several times, the kid from Ohio State who started can start for my team whenever. I don't need them in the 1st round. I don't need to waste a 1st-round pick because these defensive players that I read with all the sacks and the interception guys and the leading tacklers, those guys aren't around in the 2nd and 3rd round. Well, let's say the 3rd round. The offensive lineman will be there. I just don't know where it helps the team. San Diego, instead of taking Brock Bowers, superstar, which we told you about before the draft, that he'd be an all-pro 10 years in a row, which he will. You drafted a offensive lineman from Notre Dame who got hurt and didn't play it down. And Oakland drafts Brock Bowers. San Diego needs a tight end, but they need receivers. So San Diego is really screwed. But they had an offensive lineman. And how did that work out? Oh, yeah, they lost to Houston. I mean, it's insanity how stupid these GMs are because you don't even understand the value of the offensive lineman versus the defensive guy or the interception guy or the good running back. And you've got to be able to value the quarterbacks, which they can't do. Look at the Bears, Mitch Trubisky, Fields, now Caleb. That's 3 strikes, you're out. They can't draft. They had Daniels sitting in their lap, and they go with Caleb Williams. How can you screw that up? How can you miss Jalen Daniels versus Caleb? It's not even close. Daniels was 10 times the quarterback the last year in college that Caleb was. 10 times. And yet they go with Caleb. I mean, it was like done 2 months early. They didn't even research. They didn't double think. Maybe we should take Daniels. Nothing. And then they end up with another blown pick. like the guy in Carolina, Steve Young, and the guy on the Giants, Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, and all these guys that just suck. Sam Darnold, you got to blame Sam Darnold because he's got to be stronger and say, look, they're blitzing me. We got to have quick passes. We've got to have screens. We've got to have crossing routes. I don't have 10 minutes to throw against the Lions. Where was he? Why didn't he take control? That's what you need. Joe Namath would have told him to fuck off and he'd run his plays. And others would have kind of run, although Darnold's not a runner. I don't like that you want a quarterback because he's mobile. I don't think that's really not. How mobile is Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers? They're not. Mahomes is somewhat mobile. Joe Burrow is not really mobile, a little bit, but he's not. They step up into the pocket. They slide up. Montana slides up. He didn't run a little bit, but he wasn't a runner. Look what he did on the catch. Montana slid outside, slid, and then threw the pass when the guy was ready. That's what you want, not Lamar who's going to run out, or C.J. Stroud who immediately leaves the pocket, or Caleb who immediately leaves the pocket. That was a design play by Montana. He was supposed to roll to the right, but that's really what you're looking for is who's done what. And again, why did we like Daniels, the way he played Alabama, the way he played Georgia? Why did we like Penix, the way he beat Oregon twice and Texas, and the rest of it? They went undefeated. So that's why you like Penix. I heard one guy go on this radio show, and they're like trying to rank the quarterbacks. And he kind of, I don't know about Penix yet. He said he played in 2 games. I thought he played in like 4 or 5. And not only that, what do you need to see? It's the same thing with Daniel Jones. Why do you need 5 years to see he sucks when we know he sucks right away? Same thing with Caleb. Same thing with Bryce Young. We can see they suck right away. That's it. So why do we need to see more? Well, how much more do you need to see at Penix before you realize the guy's a superstar? Do you need to see more Daniels to see he's a superstar? And this is the problem with it. So you must understand that that's really what's going on. So when you're drafting, you've got to be able to analyze what your worth is. So like a Gentry or a Scatterboo, how is that going to help my team? They've proven they're good because we've seen them in the games. I thought it was ridiculous Boise played Penn State. That was a bad matchup for Boise. I thought a lot of the playoff games were terrible, but Gentry looked very good against like Vegas, which was a really good defensive team. So he's valuable to me. Red zone. You got to realize you need running backs in the red zone. They're not realizing that. And you got to look at what you need. So let's take the Lions. They need a shitload of defense. You kind of go, well, let's see what kind of defense Philly and KC play in San Francisco. We need to get to that level, which they're not at. Now, they were good against weak teams, which is what I always point out. The Lions play a weak schedule. When they started playing good teams, they got killed by Buffalo. Then they go and beat Jacksonville and Tennessee, and everybody's all excited. These are high school teams. These teams couldn't win a game in the Big Ten, Jacksonville and Tennessee. Then they get up against Green Bay. Okay, Love's injured. Okay, the Bears suck. And they struggled with them on Thanksgiving. And then the Vikings they beat because they blitzed, and Darnold couldn't handle the blitz. Now, why didn't they do that against Josh Allen? Oh, because he would have ripped them apart running and throwing. And so it's a gimmicky defense that works against the weaker opponents, but not the stronger. Well, how are you going to win a playoff game? Daniels lit you up, and Hurts would have lit you up, and for sure Mahomes would have lit you up. You couldn't beat a good team. You couldn't beat Buffalo, right? So How good your defense? How good your GM? How good your coach? What kind of game plan does this guy put together? I'm not seeing a good game plan. I don't know if he's an offense or defensive coach. He's a good motivator. I'll give you that, but that's not what a head coach is. Look at Chuck Noll. He says, if I got to rah rah you, you shouldn't be here. That's a good coach. Bill Walsh didn't rah rah them. Bill Parcells scared the shit out of them, but he didn't. The good coaches don't rah rah you. That's your job to be motivated. Not I gotta pat you on the ass to get you ready for the game. Then your players are pretty weak. So he does that, which fine. The game plan sucked, both offensively and defensively. The offense against Buffalo was weak. They had to go to trick plays, these reverses. That's a trick. Radio guy, the reverse is a trick play. And, the halfback option, the play you never saw before where you're doing Army Navy option plays where the running back's optioning it to the other running back. I mean, those are all trick plays. In other words, you should be able to do Pittsburgh Steeler football and run Franco up the middle for a touchdown, not needing a reverse to Lynn Swan and then hit Stallworth or something. That's not what you should be doing. So that's why I question the head coach. I question if the Lions can ever do anything again. They got lucky the year before because they got the Rams in the first round, and then a weak Tampa team who had lost, who happened to beat Philadelphia because they fell apart and Dallas had fallen apart. So Tampa was not like the 2 seed or the 3. They were like a 7 or 8 seed. So their playoff was like college basketball when you beat the 16 team and then the 8th, then the 2 seeds gets upset by the 15 seed and you get the 15 seed. Well, that's what the Lions had. They got a Rams team that was decent. I'm surprised they beat them, and then beat Tampa was nothing. That was not a very good team. They beat Philly at home. Philly fell apart. All right. Dallas fell apart. So they didn't have to go to the 2 or 3 seed. Then they go to the Niners and blow the lead. You're wondering, what's the coach doing? What are you doing blowing a 17-point second half lead to go to the Super Bowl because you keep going forward on 4th down? What kind of coaching strategy? Bill Walsh, never. Chuck Noll, never. Bill Parcells, never. Joe Gibbs, never. Don Shula, never. There isn't a good coach who ever coached who would have went for the 4th downs. They'd be kicking the field goals. They'd be playing ball control. They'd be playing field position. So if you got a 4th down, now the one I know you were in field goal range. The other one you might have been on the crest with the 17-point lead. You punt the ball. The only way you can lose the game is to give up the 2 turnovers on the 4th downs that you did, plus the fumble that you did, and it was immediately 17, and then it was 14, 7, 0 in about 3 minutes. That's bad coaching. He couldn't know what to do. Bad game planning. So this is the problem. You need a defensive coach. So your draft has to be defensive players. This kid from Buffalo you would need. Great linebacker, looks like. I don't know. We have to see it, but I don't care about his speed and everything because obviously he can make 165 tackles and 5 picks. I think he's fast. He's fast enough. He makes the tackles. That's what he's supposed to do on defense, tackle the ball. I think they need a new defensive coordinator and stop with all this zone passing. All these secondaries with the zone, it's designed to stop like Lamar from running because if they all play man on man, then Lamar can run. So to prevent Lamar from running or these running quarterbacks, Hurts, you have to play zone, and then they can easily eat it up. So that's why Lamar really isn't that good. The better teams put pressure on him, and that's how you beat them. And half the teams don't even understand it. Half the coaches just suck. Most of the GMs are horrible. How does Jacksonville get so bad? How does Tennessee not have let Derrick Henry go and you draft Levitt, who sucked in college. If you suck in college, you're not going to get better in the pros. So I don't understand that correlation. That's Caleb. That's Bryce Young. They sucked in college. They weren't very good. They beat the weak teams, and so they run up their stats, but they're not very good. So for a draft, those are the players. That's how you figure it out. You look at how they play on the field. You look at how they play against the good teams. That's why I keep bringing up McCord lost to Michigan twice. And then I bring up Howard lost to Michigan. I don't care that he won the title. He lost to Michigan. He lost the one meaningful game of the season they had to win, and to the Oregon game that they had to win. Both of those games he lost. Sorry. That's the key takeaway if he's any good or not. I don't care he won a national. That was bullshit. That was against Notre Dame. They weren't very I don't remember the other game. What did he beat? Tennessee, and it was mostly his defense that did that, or the style that they played. They let that one wide receiver get open. Where was that against Michigan? Why didn't they throw the ball to the wide receiver? So that's the problem. I think the GM and the coaches are just ridiculously bad, and they don't really give you. They don't really give you the best chance to win. They're not good. They're not talented. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to read talent, and they don't know what they need in talent. Anyway, so that's the NFL draft. It's not, why would you draft the guy from Colorado because he can play offense and defense? Are you planning on him to play offense and defense? I don't think so. Not in the NFL. So I don't really buy that. I guess Colorado, that's how weak they were. They didn't have a good receivers, but Prime Jr. is a quarterback, so he had to give him a receiver. But then when they looked at defense, they didn't have any good cornerbacks. So he played both, but he's not going to do that in the pros. I don't think he's very good either way. Is he a great receiver? No, I don't know. Colorado had some good games. What happened against Kansas? Where was he against Kansas? He certainly wasn't tackling my guy. What's his name? The running back, Devin Neal. Why didn't he tackle him? Guy had like 250 yards and 5 touchdowns in the game. Where was this Colorado guy? Yeah, he didn't show up. He wasn't making any tackles. Anyway, so that's really what you're looking at. You're looking at that. If Cam Ward goes 1, that's a huge mistake, and if Prime Jr. goes 2, that's a huge mistake. They are not Daniels. They're more Bryce Allen and Caleb than they are Daniels and Penix. So they're just not there. I would not take the quarterback. I would take this. I would take the running backs first, or like Barkley went first or second when he got drafted. Same thing. The guy's as good as Barkley, Gentry. Scatterboo will be fine. You really don't have that superstar player that you normally have. So this would be, I wouldn't want the first pick. I would trade it for 2 picks a little bit lower and then get defensive line help and maybe this linebacker from Buffalo and then maybe Scatterboo or Gentry. Not a whole lot of receivers and certainly not there's some quarterbacks like Morris from North Texas and the kid from Texas State, McLeod. Those 2 guys I would definitely get in the second round. If I was the New York Giants, I would go after Morris or McLeod, and they'll be better than Cam Ward. You certainly don't want to trade up for a Cam Ward or a Prime Jr. when you can get these guys who are very good. Morris in North Texas, they average about 45 a game. That's exactly who I would take. And they'll be fine if you just give them a normal offense and a normal coaching and let them grow in position. They'll be fine. Look what they did at North Texas and Texas State. Oh, well, you can't draft small college quarterbacks. Yeah, how about who was that? From Tiny Milton College. What was that? Jim Zorn. So I mean, don't tell me that. Even Bradshaw was from Louisiana Tech. So yeah, you don't need to be. Which they tend to do is they draft these Alabama guys, and it really is a mistake. You can't name one that's been good since Namath and Stabler. None of them are any good. So again, you're going to the wrong school and you're going for the wrong reasons. Anyway, so let's take a look at gold and silver. Let me see if I have any videos to show. Gold 28.45, silver 31.02. So they're diving back around noon. It's 12.48. But not to worry because we know the demand's huge for gold and silver, and it's just a buying opportunity now. Let's see if there's any news. Well, let's look at the NBA, but I don't even pay attention. Luca Grassi was reportedly offered by Mavericks. I thought he already was reportedly offered by Mavericks to T-Wolves for Anthony Edwards during informal talks. He ended up going to the Lakers for Anthony. And I thought Anthony Davis was a running back for USC. Fact or fiction, the NBA doesn't have a future face of the league. I don't even watch it. Steph Curry dropped season high 56 with 12 3-pointers. How boring. Anthony Edwards, who I don't even know who that is. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to NFL and see if there's any news. That's all we care about. Top NFL news. Cowboys head coach discusses Micah Parsons' extension timeline. Who cares? Bengals, do you want J.J. Watt? He's always injured. Player workout begin at the NFL scouting combine. Who cares? That's the stupidest thing. Talk about a waste of time, the scouting combine. Well, let's see how fast he can run. You don't care how he can run in shorts. You care about how he can run in a uniform and how he can fake people out. That's why you watch the game, Phil. Myles Garrett rejects contract extension. Whatever. Who cares? Tom Brady and Matthew Stafford. The Tennessee Titans have the number one pick in this year's draft. So they're going to draft Cam Ward. Is he better than Lovett? Oh, Travis Hunter's a two-way superstar. Really? Since when? He's a superstar, and so Colorado won the national title. Bucks to reinstate John Gruden in Ring of Honor after removing him. That's news. Chiefs to franchise tag Trey Smith with 1-year deal worth $23 million. I don't know who that. I think he's a lineman. Travis Kelce plans to return. I can't go out like this. Yeah, he doesn't want to hang around with Taylor Swift. Travis Hunter won't work out in Indy, saving quarterback, wide receiver drills. Well, we're going to saving quarter for pro day. Oh, that's okay. We watched Colorado. You're nothing special. I mean, he's not a better corner than all the others, and he's certainly not a better receiver than the others. The fact he can do two, well, a lot of players can play two positions. Why trading Matthew Stafford doesn't make sense for anyone. Well, it makes sense for Minnesota and Dallas. Cam Ward, I think it'd be plug and play if the Titans drafted me. Yeah, sure it would be. Cam Ward. Plug and play if the Titans draft. The Titans stink. What would you do on the Titans? Oh, Cam Ward knows a decent amount of the Tennessee offense. Big fucking deal. Anyway, so that's what's going on there. Not a whole lot. So gold, don't panic. It's price fixed. It's not free market. As I show you the Montana card. The Montana card, you know what it's for, but you notice it doesn't really go up and down that much. Of course, we don't have that much information on it. We know an auction sold for 100 or the rice card sold for 105 is all you see, but you don't know until the next auction what it is, and there's very limited supply in those PSA 10s, and therefore not a lot of buyers at that price. So keep that in mind. Anyway, prices are information. Remember that. Inflation is strictly printing the money. That's it. There's no prices have nothing to do with inflation. Deflation is a made up term. It's prices going down, which is just prices going down. The tariffs, people aren't going to pay more for it. The prices might go up, but you don't have to buy it. Most of our food really won't matter. I think it comes from the US, so there'll be no tariff. Canada, what kind of food do we get from them? And then Mexico, maybe we get avocados, but they also come from California. Everybody's worried about a gold and silver tariff. They're not tariffing gold and silver. First of all, we don't buy it. And what we do buy is just derivative doubt. So there's no real cost. And I doubt you're going to tariff gold and silver anyway. It's just goods, and it's mostly like steel, iron, things that are built somewhere else. They want to put a tariff on them. They want to add a tax. So it's like, think of it as a sales tax. So we're going to have a 25% sales tax if you ship in iron or steel or lumber or anything, which will make them. The real bottom line is they'll make them non-competitive, which will make the companies in the US more competitive. However, not really competitive because the prices, they're not going to lower their prices because you're kind of fucking with competition there. It's really a stupid thing to do. So it'll cause a crash, I'm sure, in the market. It always does. Like I say, stock market, let's see what that's doing today. Germany airport walkout. Greece nationwide strike cancels hundreds of flights at Munich and Athens. Well, I'm glad I'm not traveling now. What else? Ten passive income stocks with 6% dividends. Yeah, but it's not worth anything. See, that's where they get you. There's a 6% income dividend. There's a 9% in a annuity, but you're still in paper, and it's worth nothing. So 6% of zero is zero. Mm, mm. All right, so let's see what the stocks are today. Stock market today. Follow along as market investors. Last updated at 1242. All right, so the market is what? The Dow's at 43,213. Way overvalued, down 26. S&P's down 9. NASDAQ's down 48. Bitcoin's at 83,000, down 500. And I don't know what this is. I guess this is gold, GCOO, 2856. I guess it's gold, Gold Corp. I don't know what that is. So, not much going on there. The best place to be would be gold, of course. And then my favorite thing, the FX rates to the euro, 96. And I always look at the ruble for Daria. Russian ruble is down to 89.37. It was 110, and then it was about 100, and it's been holding in the 90s, so now it's 89. And let's see how bad the Ukrainian dollar is going. The Ukrainian hryvnia, 41. The Swiss franc is 90. So you can always tell the countries who have inflation. Sri Lanka, 295. Let's go to India. So everything's like even money. The euro is 97 cents. And then you get to a heavily inflated country and it's 96. Let's go to Israel. I think they're pretty fucked up over there. The Israel is 360. This is the new shekel. So the old shekel they retired. And let's go to India. They're pretty bad. They're 87. So they're fucked. So you saw the ruble's 89, the rupee's 80. So anyway, that's what we got, boys and girls. Any questions, comments, anything else you want to know? What else can I educate you on? I think that's about it. Mark McGuire, decent guest on today. He was okay. I'm not going to play any of it. I'll probably see some more. Fridays are pretty popular, so I should have some more quotes for you tomorrow. Wars, they're trying to make peace. The EU's fucked. This BRICS is fine. Don't even worry about the gold-backed currency. It's coming. As people realize they're fucked, then off they go, and the dollar's gone. Otherwise, there's just a lot of debt out there, personal and business and government, and it's just this dollar. Actually, none of my curiosity is this is almost gone, right? So when this goes, what happens to our mortgage and our car payments and our credit cards? Because I can't pay in dollars, right? This this doesn't exist anymore. How do I pay things that I owe? Now, they most likely will convert it to the new currency. So if you owe $5,000 on a credit card in dollars, now you come out with this new dollar. What is the conversion? Do I maybe owe $1,000 in the new currency? Probably what'll happen, but we will see. But we need a new currency. That'll be happening soon, I think. Profit, check my email. Okay, I will. Again, I'm sorry about your what is it, father-in-law passing. Well, you knew he was sick, so okay. And now I guess that speeds up your processes. So you have to process out everything, and so you'll have to do some digging and figure out some stuff. Outside of that, like my mom died a year ago, October. Didn't change me at all. Some people you just aren't stoic. They're just mindless people, and you just don't waste your time with them. There's always the talker. They just yap, and you just don't. There's nothing you can say. Anyway, so the pull a little bit. I thought I'd have to go to the bank for my rent. I don't. I have enough in my account, and I do got to pay a credit card. That's what I hate about this time. I got a credit card due on the 5th and rent due on the 1st. So rent's fine. And then I'm looking for other work, and we'll see. And then hopefully see how much money I generate here. Anyway, that's about it. So have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Again, prices are information. That was our class today. A lot about prices being information, and a free market is this worth 100, and a market controlled by the government or communism is in Keynesians are they're not free market. They want the government to run it, which means if I buy this card for 100,000 or somebody buys it for me for 100, that's the price of the card. In a free market. In a controlled market like gold, they're saying, well, no, well, we're going to say gold's worth 2,900, not what people will buy. And, people will spend a lot more on gold than 2,900. But since they are trying to control the price, you don't know what it is. So we don't really know what gold price is because it's fixed. It's not controlled by the free market. And I think it will be as soon as with the BRICS countries coming aboard and having a gold-backed currency, they'll need a real free market gold price. And I think that's coming very soon. Otherwise, I think that's it. Enjoy your Friday. We're getting finally a little bit of warmer weather, and that'll be it. So have a good day. Take care. www.teaserking.com. Buy your gold and silver today. It is on sale. Don't worry about it coming down. Bitcoin, I'd worry about. Stock market, I'd worry about because they're coming down for different reasons. Gold's coming down because of price fixing. The others are not being price fixed and are coming down for lack of demand. There is no lack of demand for gold and silver. The demand is huge. So understand that. Why is it going down? Try to think about things. Why is this happening? If you can do that, you'll be way, way ahead. I do that with football. Why did I lose this football game? Why did I win the game? Why did I win the Super Bowl? How did I pick Philly and the over? How did I do that? So ask yourself those questions. All right. Well, have a good day, everybody. I will talk to you tomorrow. www.teaserking.com. All right. Take care, everybody.